Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So we're going to take a step back and get back on our prepping series a little bit. I know I did my first Christmas series. Thank you all for your kind comments and compliments. I do definitely appreciate it. But I wanted to share with you what happened to me this morning. So if you notice, there's no fall Halloween. It's actually all over there, and I don't plan to turn the camera around. I'm getting ready to put it in bins, put it up in the attic. And I decided I needed a couple more bins. So I don't live too far from the Dollar General here in the small town I live in. And I went up, and there were 4 cars there. And a guy came to the front of my car and said something. I couldn't hear what he said, so I rolled down the window, and I'm like, "Excuse me?" And he said, "They're closed." And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, there's a sign on the door that says, 'Due to lack of staffing, we are closed.'" For the day, I assume. So right next door to the Dollar General is our little village market. It used to be a super value. My son always called it super ripoff because indeed it is quite pricey to shop there. And it's largely there, I think, for the university students that are just across the way from the grocery or market. And it's very small. So needless to say, I did not get my additional bins. I'm going to work it out. I'll just juggle until I can get to a store. I'm not going to drive clear to the next town. But it made me think, we're just having so many problems right now. I don't even need to share that with you. You all know. But when staffing problems start to hit your small town, when you have a population of university students that's greater than the population of town, and stores and restaurants have closed right and left here, there's a problem. So I thought, I wanted to make this recipe for you today. As promised, I'm going to make salmon patties. But I thought it might be a good time just to talk a little bit about prepping for winter. So I went out on the easyprepping.com, I'll leave a link in the description box, website, and they have the food calculator. So what you do is you put in the number of adults and then the number of children age, I think it's 0 to 6 because that's a smaller calculation, and it will tell you how much sugar, cooking oil, grains, the whole thing. But what I had never noticed before, because I hadn't looked at this aspect of it, is it only talks about canned or dried meats. So hang on a minute. I am going to show you some of the things. You've all seen my freezer now, so you know I have a lot of frozen meats, but I'm going to show you some of the alternatives. If you don't have a deep freeze, you're limited on space, what you can do to have a lot of meat on hand for the upcoming season. Stay tuned. So before I start showing you some of your options that you might think about for canned or preserved meats, I also wanted to share, I thought surely there's a website that says, if you're a family of X, you need X amount of meat on hand. So I checked out a couple homesteading websites that really focus on raising their own meat animals and doing their own harvesting of those animals to feed their family, probably as well for sale. So this is what I came up with. Canned and dried meats according to easyprepping.com. So remember, that's canned, dried. It doesn't talk about fresh. It doesn't talk about frozen. 20 pounds is what it will take per adult person per year. To me, that's just like some random number. I did not think that was super helpful. So I went out on the USDA website and I looked to see what the recommendations were. And what I saw was the average American eats 222.2 pounds of meat per year. That's a lot of meat. And I know we're a meat-heavy country. And there are plenty of other sources of proteins, guys. Whole grain and bean combinations, beans, there's dairy. So I think you need to take this with a grain of salt. But back to the homesteading website, they said for meat, I should have on hand for a year's supply. And I'm working on a year's supply right now. So 58 pounds of beef, 52 pounds of pork, 96 pounds of chicken, and 16 pounds of turkey. Well, that source didn't even take into account seafood or anything else. This was more if you're raising your own animals for your family's meat needs. This is, how much you're going to need per person, and that translates to how many cows, pigs, whatever. So I just decided I am going to stock as well as I can, and I may or may not get to a year's supply of meat. I don't eat a ton of meat. I don't eat meat every day. So I need less, but I eat a lot more beans and cheese and eggs probably than the average American. So canning wise, I am more of an ingredient canner. I don't care for a lot of canned meat, but a couple I've done, and these are 3/4 pints. This is taco meat. So, you can whip up a burrito in no time. Somebody's coming for dinner and you didn't plan it. Got your taco meat done. I also like the sloppy Joe meat, and it's really good. I've done videos on this. To take a biscuit, smash it to make a little pie, put your sloppy Joe meat, some mustard and cheese. Oh, so good. The only other meat that I've canned presently is the base for a chicken soup. This could be chicken and dumplings. It has carrots, onions, celery, and of course chicken broth and chicken. So that's what I have on hand. But guys, don't turn your nose up at this. All right, wait for it. Spam or luncheon meat from Great Value. Very economical. And if you wonder what the black is on top, I put the date on everything. So has a very long shelf life. This is good till 3/26. So probably from the time I purchased it, about a 5-year shelf life. And you may be like, oh, Spam. Guys, there's so many ways to doctor up Spam to make it taste good. I personally like to slice it thin, fry it, drain it well. It gets crispy. It's very good. It doesn't taste like Spam. Lots of garlic too is good with Spam. I'm sure you've all seen Great Value chunk chicken, and this is the chicken breast with rib meat. I bought the 2-pack. This I've had for a while. It's good still though till 4/23. This makes great chicken salad. If you just want to heat up a little bit, like with mashed potatoes and vegetables, it's good that way too. Certainly nothing wrong with the Great Value brand. I highly recommend that. The mega tuna. Now I have to be in the mood for tuna. Tuna is not my favorite thing, but I don't hate it. And these usually have a pretty good shelf life too. This is 7/23, so I have I have about 2 years to eat it. So what year is it? And this just happens to be Starkist brand. I buy what's on sale, guys. I also have Great Value and some Aldi brands. I'm going to show you this can upside down. Don't laugh. I was like, Aldi. Somebody was snoozing on the job, and it's not Aldi's fault. So yes, this is wild Alaska pink salmon. So this is what we're going to be using today. This also has a pretty good shelf life, 6/26. So probably from the time it was canned, about a 5-year shelf life. And you may think, oh, canned meat is awful. Guys, you can do so much with canned meat, and it isn't awful. I'm here to tell you, stock up. I have never been a person that's like, this guy is falling. However, with the situation that we are in with the ports, with the trucking issues, with container storage for shipping issues, with the increase in prices, you can't go wrong stocking up. So make sure you have some of these. And to me, that's a convenience item. I don't have to take raw meat and cook it. So how do I make salmon patties? Well, I don't have a recipe, guys, but I'm going to do my best to show you just how I make them. So let me kind of clear off the counter here. I'm going to put the salmon in a bowl. I'm going to show you how I prefer to clean it and why. and what I put in it, and then we'll fry up some salmon patties. The way I really enjoy them is on a salad. So I'll be draining them well, because I am going to fry them so that, you know, they're not soggy with grease. I like them cold or hot, so I'll be eating them hot today. So stay tuned a moment. So I'm angling the camera down here so hopefully you can see. So this is what comes out of the can. I personally use the liquid. I'm going to keep my can because I'm going to put the bones in it. Let me hold this up. So can you see right here? That is some of the spine bones from the fish. So if you separate it carefully, there you can see right here the spine in the little ribs. Now, these are super soft. You can eat them. They're crunchy. So if you miss one, if you think I don't want to eat that and you miss one, it does give you a lot of calcium. So yeah, I grew up not eating them, so I take them out. I also will take out skin. Again, perfectly edible. I think it really boils down to preference, and it certainly will not hurt you. So then I will just kind of separate the remaining pieces, kind of flake it up just to make sure I haven't missed anything. And I don't mind a little bit of skin. The biggest reason I take the skin off is because it's dark and I don't like the looks of it in my food, which is kind of silly, I know. Usually you will resort to your hands, and don't think just because you've taken out one column of spine bones that you're done. You may or may not be. Looks like so far that's all we've got. So I take off even this white skin, and you know, salmon is rich in omega-3s, but I'm still not going to eat the skin. And again, just a preference thing. So not hard to prep, and a lot of people will just open the can, stir it up. That's just not the way I grew up eating it, and not the way I learned to prepare it. So, all right. Got my new soap dispenser here this morning, so let me get this fish off my hands. Now, it may smell a little bit fishy to you, but I'm telling you, it's mild and delicious, and it's not fishy at all. I like it a little bit chunky, so I'm not going to pulverize it. Kind of like a lump crab meat. Now, to that, we are going to add 1 egg. And then here's, guys, where it gets kind of dicey. So I take this here spoon and I'm going to put it in here. So that is this is like a serving spoon. It's probably close to 3 tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to mix that up. And it really depends on how much liquid is in your particular can of salmon, how much dry ingredients you're going to need to add. So to that, black pepper. If you don't like pepper, leave it out. Some granulated garlic, because garlic makes everything better. So I'm going to put about maybe a generous teaspoon. You can dice up onion fine. I would say do it fine or it'll be crunchy, because these don't take long to cook. I'm going to put a little onion powder. Well, maybe. Okay, a chunk of onion powder. So that was like maybe half a teaspoon. I don't like too much onion powder. To me, it can impart a bitter taste. And hopefully next month or end of this month, I will be able to get some granulated onion. The last thing I'm going to add spice-wise is some salt. And I'm just using some Himalayan pink salt in the grinder. Going to give that a stir while it's still pretty liquid, and then we are going to add our cornmeal. Now you could add yellow cornmeal, white cornmeal. Yellow is what I happen to have on hand. So again, a heaping serving spoon, it usually takes 3. So it also depends on how firm do you want it. If you are allergic to eggs, you can leave them out, but you're going to need far less dry ingredients to bring it together, and your patties will have more of a tendency to fall apart. Okay. So this is definitely a moldable consistency. Sometimes I will use panko when I am making this if I don't want to use flour, but the traditional recipe from my grandma is to do it this way. So I'm going to get the pan heating. I will bring you over and show you how to patty those up and get them cooking. Well, we're over at the stove. I have my cast iron skillet pretty hot. Take my ring off so I'm not going to have a fishy ring. And all I do is just patty them up. If they don't want to patty or hold their shape, you probably need a little bit more dry ingredients. And I did want to tell you as well, so maybe you're like, I'm allergic to corn, or, you know, I don't like cornmeal. I love me some cornmeal. You can, I have seen it made where you just take, like, I'll say stale or day-old bread, like soft, even soft white bread would probably work, and you tear that up into small pieces. So basically just like a binding agent. And I've seen people do that and use milk and not use an egg at all. So I try to just make them all about the same size. And you can do these like little tiny and get all fancy and serve them as a hors d'oeuvre at the holidays. Because they're fine, hot or cold, I think. Just my opinion. You'll have to try it for yourself. But, you know, serve the little ones. Some people like it with pickles. I just like the patty. When I was growing up, I'll share a little history with you. For those of you who are new, my parents both grew up in Appalachia. And just being frank, very poor family. So they made do with what they could get. And my mom was born in 1935. My dad was born in 32. So they definitely had some depression to deal with. And yeah, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look, my lucky number. They cooked a lot of simple foods without a ton of spice because that's what they had on hand. And of course, as most of us do, I learned a lot of cooking from my mom and my grandma, and I still love to make these old-timey recipes, and I'll have to share with you when we do our taste test, something I just got from my mom. But we always had the salmon patties and macaroni and tomatoes, not mac and cheese, mac and tomatoes. So it was elbow macaroni, stewed tomatoes with a little sugar sprinkled on it. So I probably should have made some of that, but it's a little bit fattening, so I decided not to. So I'm going to let these cook until they're crispy and brown on the underneath. I'm not going to mess with them. I'm going to try to turn them just once. If you turn them a lot, they're going to fall apart. And I don't like that much filler in there, so I'm just going to let these hang out and cook. I'll bring you back to show you what they look like when I get them flipped. So I have turned the salmon patties, and I like them very crispy on the outside. That cornmeal will give you a lovely crispy texture. So does panko. So just keep a close eye on your pan because I'll just be honest, these do absorb some of your oil. And I didn't mention I'm using olive oil. And I also realized, because I'm trying to edit as I go today, I didn't tell you why. I showed you the can upside down. So the factory that put the labels on that can put them on upside down so you could only get the bottom as you looked at the can into the can opener. Totally forgot to say that. So this looks so good. It smells amazing, but it is going to smell a little fishy in here. So I had to laugh a little bit, guys. Should I show you? Y'all want to see the mess I've got? Okay, I'll show you while our salmon patties cook. Okay, secret's out. All of this, and I've put quite a bit away already, is the Halloween decorations that I need to get put away in fall. It's not just Halloween, but I was like, does it multiply while I sleep at night? But this morning I decided, you know, I need to get my, I'm a lover of candles. I make a lot of candles, but honestly, I usually end up selling them rather than to keep, or gifting them, rather than to keep them for myself. And hey guys, I'll give you a little sneak peek. Jasper and I are going to be doing a video together. Every fall, pre-Christmas, we spend the day together and we make candles and do a lot of this and that. Because Jasper, and we've talked about how tall Jasper is. She is so strong, and with my hand trouble, she can scoop the wax like nobody's business. So it really helps me out. But anyway, so, and she's got some exciting news to share, guys, on her products. I'm so proud of her. So I wanted to share with you what I found at my mom's. I'm keeping one eye on the salmon patties. So you may think, ooh, what's that? I had seen this at mom's before, but what I hadn't seen was this. And as you can tell, it's a very old recipe book, and it has dividers tabs. So, oh, sorry, I'm not even showing you. Beverages, breads and rolls, cakes and cookies. Mom's really classic, treasured recipes are in here. So I'm super grateful to have that. And this also pleased me. This has even more recipes, a lot of them from like 70s and 80s, so a lot later. But it did my heart good because she saved a lot of things that I made and she would want the recipe for. And I thought, you know, mom did have an appreciation for my cooking at one point in time. So let's go back over here. I'm gonna do a sneak peek. Oh yeah, those are done. It helps if you can see them, right? So let me just turn the heat off now. This is a step I recommend you don't skip, especially if you want to eat them cold. Go ahead and dish them up. And let me just show you, they're lovely brown on both sides. But you want to get that excess oil off so that they will taste good cold. So I'm just putting them on a paper plate. Not very skillfully, obviously. Guys, I bought a new kind of paper towel. I hate it. And I like made myself use it because every time I try to tear it, they're like Selecta-size. Every time I try to tear one off, I rip the paper towel. So I only have like 8 more rolls of them to use. Maybe it's just operator error. I'll put another paper towel there. So there you have our lovely salmon patties. And you may wonder, okay, well, did this really, oh, sorry guys, did this save you money? So I showed this on my Aldi haul, and the price of salmon in the can has gone up. I think it was $2.89. I'm pretty sure it was $2.89. I know it was under $3. And even if I ate 2, that's like 3 meals and a snack out of this. And the only additional ingredients were pennies for the spices and the cornmeal, etc., and 1 egg. So it's very economical. And I think if you'll give it a shot, you'll really like it. So I'm gonna plate up and then I will show you how I like to eat it in just a moment. Stay tuned. My favorite way to have the salmon patties is to have a big bed of greens. I have carrots, that's not cheese. And you see those bright red pieces? Guys, I picked my tomatoes that were left on the vine, my green ones, and just let them counter ripen. So I'm sure they're not quite as tasty as what they would be if they were vine ripened, but I didn't waste them. And I'm going to use a roasted garlic vinaigrette. My favorite is a sun-dried tomato that I get from the Amish store, but I don't have any. So let me kind of pull this over. Usually I have my tiered tray here, so it can be kind of hard. Let me show you what the inside looks like, and can you see the steam rising? That's because it's 60 degrees in my house. Very, very good, very rich, flavorful. You can definitely taste the spices I put in. Little garlic, little onion, the cornmeal gives it that nice crunchy texture. So drop me a comment below. Do you utilize any type of canned meat? And if so, do you have a secret way to prepare them you'd like to share with our group? So I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch my video today. Don't forget, if you haven't already, please go ahead and smash that like button. That really helps me out. I love reading each and every one of your comments, and I do try to respond to every single one of them. I'm hoping, y'all, I'm hoping that I will have a Thursday video. Yesterday I went and put up Mom's tree, did all of her Christmas decorating, etc., etc. I just have a really, really busy week. And yeah, you've seen the mountain, so I want to get started on some Christmas decor. The house needs clean. There's always plenty to do. So hopefully I will see you on Thursday. And as always, be healthy, be well, be blessed. Take care, and I'll see you all a little later this week.